Hey guys, so question, are you busy? If you're like most of us, you kind of just say, I'm busy kind of all the time in everyday conversation. You get on a meeting on Zoom, someone asks you how you are, you say, I'm busy, I'm good, but I'm busy. And this is just kind of a part of our culture, like we're just all busy. But I would actually argue that saying this and thinking that I'm busy is a detriment to our well-being and also a detriment to our productivity. So I'm going to explain why in this video. This concept is also a part of my upcoming webinar, How to Be Radically More Productive. And if you find this interesting, make sure to come to the webinar because it will very much expand on this topic and offer a lot of tools and insights into this kind of busyness mindset and how to overcome it so that you can live a happier and more productive life. Okay, so the thing about being busy is that it tells our minds that there is time scarcity. So if you think about it, you think I'm busy. That means that there's not enough time to do the things in my day that I want to do. And so what is time scarcity? Like, where does it come from and why does it matter? So time scarcity is the concept that we don't have enough time. We tell ourselves, our brains say, we do not have time. And for most of us, we think that this is an objective concept. So there is an objective scientific case for us not having enough time. And if we got like a bunch of scientists to come and look at our days and analyze our days, they would come back with the conclusion, you do not have enough time, you are an incredibly busy person, and case closed. The thing is that time scarcity is actually very much in the perception of the person. So if you had person A and you had person B, and they had completely equal lives, completely equal schedules, same workload, same amount of kids, same responsibilities, they could actually have different levels of time scarcity. So they could perceive their busyness levels in different ways. And I'm sure you all kind of know this in every day, in which one person might perceive a situation as like the worst thing ever, or another person who's more optimistic can perceive the same situation as not that bad. Perception in psychology is everything. Objective reality can never really quite be measured because objective reality is different to every person. We can't really agree on it. And as many of you know, actually, in the process of even measuring something, we change it. So how do you even actually measure reality? We can't. If we are perceiving our time as not enough and our days as being too full, what does that mean for us? We actually have studies on time scarcity. So we actually study how people perceive their time, how they perceive their workload, why they have time scarcity, so kind of what might cause it, what kind of thinking patterns result in people perceiving their time as more scarce, the outcomes of thinking that time is scarce, and also, is time scarcity objective? So does the person who has the same schedule, or even a person who has a higher workload, do they perceive their time as more scarce? So essentially, as I have a higher workload, as things pile up, should my time scarcity go up? Is there a causative effect? Okay, so the answer is actually there is not a causative effect in workload and time scarcity. So in this study that I will link below, they found that as they increased workload for workers in the study, the perception of time scarcity did not necessarily correlate with increase of workload. The perception of time scarcity also did not correlate with number of children. And if you have children, you know that basically the more children you have, the more workload you have in relation to your kind of parental duties. So it's really interesting that as somebody has more and more children, their perception of time scarcity does not necessarily go up. So it seems that this perception of time scarcity is very much inherent. It's a way that people see the world. So according to the study, you could have a person A that has, 4 kids and works 60 hours a week and possibly perceive their time as less scarce as somebody that has 0 children and only works 40 hours a week. It seems that the things that actually do contribute to perceiving time as scarce are thinking of something else while you're completing your task. So if you're working on something, but you're thinking of something else, it leads people to perceive their time as more scarce. Number two, the second reason that people perceive time as more scarce is that they don't believe in schedules. So they don't believe in the kind of planning of what they're gonna do and that they're actually gonna do it. And they don't believe that schedules will actually kind of go the way they think they'll go. So if you don't really believe in schedules, it kind of makes sense that you would perceive time as a little bit chaotic. And the third thing that contributes to people viewing as time as more scarce is that they don't remember what they did yesterday. So if you are not able to kind of account for the things that you did, it seems that time seems to be more scarce in your mind. So it kind of makes sense to us that not believing in schedules, not being able to account for your time, and kind of multitasking too much would lead to a perception of time scarcity. So what's the opposite of time scarcity? Time abundance. So if you want to kind of have a perception that you have enough time, which I know to a lot of us sounds extremely countercultural, you would actually want to start thinking the opposite of these three behaviors. So you would want to make sure that when you're completing a task, you focus exclusively on that task. And you believe in your schedule. You start believing that, you know, I will put this on my schedule and I will get it done. The third thing you would want to do is make sure that you can account for the time that you spend on things. So this is actually really useful. You can keep like a time log or a time diary. Like kind of like a food log. So what you do is you actually list out all of the activities that you did and you see kind of where did I spend my time? What did I do? And you will probably see lots of times in which you actually have free time, but you might have done something else during that free time. You might have scrolled social media, you might have made a snack, something like that. But just being able to see all that free time in one place will help you feel like your time is abundant. So you might ask, who cares? Like, who cares if I perceive my time as abundant or I perceive my time as scarce? The thing is, your body cares and your mind cares. When we perceive anything as scarce, it activates the sympathetic response, which means that it increases stress in our body. When we activate a sympathetic response, we actually usually typically also have kind of a narrowing of our thinking. So we focus really hard on the thing that is scarce. So typically when we focus so much on the thing that is scarce, it doesn't really facilitate good long-term behavior. We know this with a lot of studies on money. So if people feel that they have a money scarcity, they often don't pay off their debt or spend money in the way that would actually be the most optimal in getting more money. And time is similar. So when you have a scarcity of time, kind of that stressed out response leads you to not engage in long-term thinking that is best for you in relation to using your time. So what you want to make sure is that you're kind of budgeting your time and you're thinking about your time in a way of abundance. You want to make sure you focus your brain onto times that you have enough time and to stop saying you're busy. If you keep telling yourself you're busy, you are going to have a stressed out response and you're going to make poor decisions in relation to time. There's nothing that our brain hates more than scarcity, and all the marketers in the world know this because they try to elicit scarcity in their marketing campaigns because it stresses us out and we want to get rid of that stress. We're like, so essentially it goes scarcity, stress, and then we want to just plunge into any behavior that gets rid of our stress. So we're like, yeah, I will buy that whatever right now because I just want to get rid of this stress that scarcity elicits in me. You do not want your brain to be in the scarcity mindset. You want your brain to be in an abundance mindset because that typically results in better long-term planning and it results in more creative solutions. So as you kind of shift your brain into a more abundant mindset by focusing on how much time you have and by thinking thoughts like perhaps maybe you think like I always get everything done that I need to get done instead of thinking I'm busy. Or you think even something more neutral like I have a schedule, something like that. It doesn't have to be super Pollyanna-ish. It doesn't have to be like I have all the time in the world, because I mean, that's not really true, is it? So you want to think a more neutral or a more positive thought to, instead of I'm busy, to kind of shift your brain away from that scarcity, stressed mindset, because you do not need that and it is not helping you. And the thing is, it's also not helping anyone around you. So we kind of create meaning and culture and experiences between each other. And if we're all going around telling each other that we're busy, we're all stressing each other out. And it's a horrible way to create culture in an organization, and it's just not a great way to live. So next time somebody says they're busy, do not say that you're busy too. Try to shift your mind and kind of break this chain of busyness culture and move towards an abundance mindset so that you can actually get the things that you want to get done without the repercussions of this super stressed out response. And also on top of it, you'll have a good influence on others around you as you kind of shift your internal state into a better parasympathetic response. It'll actually have a lot of good effects for anyone that's interacting with you, anyone that's around you. You will help regulate their systems as well. Honestly, it's almost like an act of kindness, because our emotions really influence the emotions of others. And so you actually will help other people to shift into a better response, and you'll be able to have a better work culture, lead better teams, and feel better as well. All right, well, I hope you guys like this video, and if you're interested in topics like this in science related to time scarcity or to productivity, like I said it before, make sure to register for the webinar. We're actually going to also talk about the neuroscience of productivity, which I'm really excited about. As always, I will see you guys next week. And for my American subscribers, happy Thanksgiving. I hope you all have a great week.